Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks Sunday Stream of Consciousness. How's everybody doing today? Another soupy day out there today. In fact, the power just went out. So if we have a power failure, I'll give you a little heads up here. If we have a power failure in the next 2 hours, hang in there. I'll try to get you in on my phone. And I want to just say, hang on, I'm trying to do something here. Good. I think we're good. A couple things. Welcome to everybody watching on TGI Sports Talk's Facebook page. Also, my personal page, Twitter. We're on the Roku channel, Northeast Streaming Roku channel. Get that downloaded. And I'll say a little something about my personal page in a second. Also on Let's Talk Sports YouTube channel. Where else are we today? I think that's about it. Quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Check out his stuff, especially the Sports Corner on Tuesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. He does that show with Smoking Jim Frazier. Does a lot of great stuff. Pittsburgh centric, but also national coverage. And he's got some other shows that he does that are just, if you're interested in Pittsburgh politics, you can jump in there too. I want to thank my guest from Friday. Great reception so far. The views are going through the roof. As I do with every interview, guys, great job. For those of you that are sharing it, and please, if you watch the interview and you like it, share it to your page. It only helps drive your show. If you like it, great. If you don't, then don't do it. But Jim was a great guest. We talked about a lot of stuff. Today's game, his days, Billy Martin, David Clyde, the human drain delay, Mike Hargrove, the 10-cent beer night. We got into a lot of stuff. The 85 World Series, obviously. We had a great conversation with him. I will note that if you're watching me, and I'm going to try to keep an eye on this because I know we have had a problem. It used to be on Facebook. So I share my show to obviously the TGI Sports Talk page. The best bet is for you to get to, if you're watching this on my personal page, get to Facebook and like and follow the TGI Sports Talk page so you get the notifications that the show is starting. I'm not going to stop sharing to the personal page only because we get a couple hundred views there. And I don't want to keep those people from seeing the show and enjoying the show. The problem has been, and Facebook has made a bunch of changes recently. When I shared the show, it's harder. They do things to make it harder, I think, to spam people, which I'm not doing. All the groups I share to have given me permission, and because we're sharing what I think is really good content, and they agree. Well, it used to be every platform that I shared to, including my personal Facebook page, I will see the comments on this feed in StreamYard. Now, this could be a StreamYard issue, and I will reach out to them, but I'm not seeing the comments when you post them to the Facebook, my personal Facebook page, Keith Engle's page. So I'm going to try to keep an eye on them today. I can't post them, but I can react to them and see them. The best bet would be to get over to TGI Sports Talk and watch there if you want to comment. Feel free to say on my personal page, just all you want to do is view and listen, and that's fine. I mean, obviously, we're getting, I think we got, I want to say 2.5, 2,500 views from last Sunday's show, for instance, right? And that's just on Facebook. That's not Twitter. That's not YouTube, and YouTube's a little light, but sometimes on Twitter, they go well over 1,000. I've had 5,000 views. I don't know what happens. Sometimes Twitter might be something they do with their algorithms. I don't understand all that. But I had a point here. Oh, not everybody wants to comment. And actually, it helps me if people are commenting on the TGI Sports Talk page because you're getting more activity. Facebook sees more activity, and it's good for the ratings of the show. So, but I will keep an eye going forward. I don't want to put it on my computer because sometimes with the video running over there and the feed here, it kind of interferes. So I've got it on my phone, and if I see comments, I'll get to them as quickly as I can, and also I'll talk to the point, right? I won't be able to post it like I do here. And maybe and again, at some point, Facebook will change something and they'll start coming up again. They come up from YouTube. They come up from Twitter. So I don't know what the problem is. It's Facebook. I'll get to some good mornings in a second. I said thank you to Jim Sundberg. My guest this Friday on Keith Engle with One-on-One will be Dennis Rasmussen, former. He was a very, very good pitcher. 18 wins 1 year with the Yankees, 13 or 14 with the Reds another year, played for the Padres. Very good pitcher. And we'll talk to him about his career and baseball and the pitching situation today, which we've done with a lot of guys. We probably won't have a guest on the 5th, as it's a long weekend for me. And I think Friday I'm going to probably make myself scarce that until Sunday that week. So we'll probably not have an interview that show. I'll replay one of the other ones. And we may skip the MLB update that day, but we'll talk more about that as we get closer. And on the 12th, Brett Saberhagen, former Cy Young Award winner with the Royals, a part of that 85 winning Royals team, and also a prominent member of the Mets for a few years as well. Anyway, to get into some topics today, I'll give you guys a primer. It's your show. Bring up topics. We're going to run with them. That's what we do. Baseball. Trevor Bauer's pitching in the Mexican League. Some rumors the Astros might be interested. He's a toxic guy to have in your. Forget about the charges that now seem to have been pretty much made up. This guy's still not a good guy. There's other things in his past. He's never been a good guy in a clubhouse. But the talk is, if he doesn't get some activity and offers, he may sue Major League Baseball for like $1 billion. There's going to be $1 billion lawsuit. What are our thoughts on that? Willie Mays, the greatest living ball player in my mind, passed away this past week. We could talk about Willie. We talked about him a lot on the MLB update, but we can talk about him again now. Blue Jays continue to spiral. Cole is back. Max Scherzer is back today. I got some other things here we can get into if we need to. A walk-off. By the way, these rules, unintended consequences. The pitch clock is put into play to speed up games. End of story. Not to end games on walk-off pitch clock violations. Please, I'll get to your comment. I'm going to get your good mornings and stuff in a second. I just want to give you guys a couple primers. Some things that are on my mind. The NFL. Brian Daboll and his wife lose a ton of weight. How about that? Look at them. Brand new people. Take a look at them. Ramondre Stevenson signs a new contract. Pretty decent contract for what the running back market is these days. I had some other stuff here. The Kansas governor's getting involved in the Chiefs and Royals issues with stadiums, and they may leave. And should the government get involved to try to keep these teams there? I'm sure there's some other stuff we can get into there. Trevor Lawrence, Hard Knocks. Are you interested in Hard Knocks? Do you watch Hard Knocks? There's going to be, I believe the Giants are starting here in another few weeks. Not even training camp, off season. I would think you'd have that now. Then you've got the Bears during training camp. And during the season, from what I've read, it will not be one team. It will be the NFC North that they follow. That might be interesting. Don't know. Don't know if you're interested in the show or not. NBA, the Knicks. Knicks, to keep this team together and compete next year, are going to have to go not only over the salary cap, but potentially into the second tier, which will severely limit player movement that they can do after that, because you get no mid-level exemption. You get one player you can move in a trade, not multiple players. And to get OG and to get Hartenstein back, it's probably going to take that. And I think they should do it. JJ Redick is a new Laker coach. Celtics win their 18th title. NHL. Edmonton forces game 7, down 3-0. Only 2 teams there's only 4 teams, I believe, in all of pro history that have done this. In the NHL, in 42, the Leafs overcame a 3-0 deficit and beat the Red Wings. In 45, the Red Wings returned the favor. And that is the last time anybody did in the NHL. Nobody's ever done it in the NBA. And in Major League Baseball, it's happened once, and I was very close to that situation in 2004. Yankees lose to the Red Sox. College football, Max Venable gets a 6-year extension. Why? Oh my God. College World Series, Texas A&M gets up 1-0 over Tennessee yesterday. 2 out of 3 that series will be. Caitlin Clark, we haven't really touched on in a while. That whole Angel Reese and her are going to be teammates in the All-Star game. We can talk a little about the Caitlin Clark situation if you want to go that way. And off of the normal sports path we take, Cam Young shoots 59 yesterday, only the 13th sub-60 round ever shot on the PGA Tour. Al Geiberger was the first to do it, I think in 77, shot 59. That was the first time. Anyway, we got lots of comments to get to here. Let me just check and see if anybody, right now, nobody commenting on the personal side, so that's a good thing. So let me get to some good mornings and see where you guys are at. Good morning, Dave Guyette up in Amsterdam, New York. Great to have you with us. Kenny Gifford up on the mountain. By the way, I'll mention real quick, if we lose power, hang in there with me, guys. We'll try to switch to the phone and do the best we can. We've lost power about 4 times in the last 24 hours or so, and it just happened at 8 o'clock, and the generator kicks right in, so it's only a minute, not even a minute, where the power kicks in, but the internet doesn't always follow it. So we'll talk about it. JB's with us from the Back It Up Binge podcast. Check out his content on YouTube. JB does a great job. Posts some great old baseball games as well. I just rewatched the 78 game 3 with the Yankees and Dodgers, one of my favorite games of all time, the other night. Happy Sunday to you, Drew. Good to have you with us. Hope the landscaping worked out all right Friday. If you're having new stuff done, good luck with that. Who said it was Happy Sunday? I say Happy Sunday. That was Drew. Come on, Kenny. I have not had a chance to reach out to the Mohawks. My bad. I said just last week, right? Everybody's got time for what's important to them. It is important to me. And I will. Actually, I'm going to do it this week. One of the reasons I was waiting, Kenny, is I had some guys that were tentatively in the pipeline, right? And it's hard once I've reached out to X amount of guys and said, I got these dates available. I kind of got to sit back for a few minutes and or a few days. And this Monday actually was on my calendar to go back and reach out again. And I will reach out to Rob as well. If I'm elite, live and breathing, it's a happy Sunday. We've all reached our mortality rate at some point. By the way, got myself ordained yesterday. If anybody needs a minister, I'm your man. So easy to do today. Had a lot of I had to have my wife help me though, because it was a little confusing on this site. I didn't want to be joining some church that I didn't want to belong to, and but we'll be officiating a wedding in the fall, which we're really excited to do, and we'll give you some more information on that later. I can believe that. I'm not sure which one that's about. Why can he sue baseball? For, I guess, again, what the reason would be, Kenny, let me just see something real quick if I can find. There was an article here. Let me just, probably like restraint of trade, collusion, right? I mean, again, we've seen in the past when MLB teams specifically have tried to bring salaries down, they get sued for collusion and lose the money anyway. So let's see if this gives any. I'm going to try, because there's another shot of MLB. Says he may have. Here we go. Says he may have no other choice. Let's see if it says what his reasoning would be. 2 days later, we talked about the sexual assault allegations, which were supposedly. Again, I guess I have to take it at face value. I don't like the guy, and I got to push that aside. He's tearing up the Mexican League. He does look a little heavy. I prefer not to go that route, but McKinney kept out of baseball as I currently am. I may have no other choice. If let's hope it doesn't come to that, and I'm allowed to return to my career that was taken from me over probably, I don't know what the hell that means, false obligations. He's spelling maybe I don't know what this word is. Provably. Maybe there's a misspelling there. I wouldn't think he'd say probably false charges. So, provably. Good grief, Keith. I'm sorry. Joe, stop typing. Oh, my God. Perhaps Bauer's just frustrated with a lack of opportunity. He's even said he'd play for the league minimum, but he hasn't yet put pen to paper. So he's really not talking about, again, you can sue people for hindering your ability to make a living. If he can prove, and it is provable in his mind at least, that, why he was suspended was inappropriate. And guys, there are people on his side. Again, I don't want to have my team because I don't like his character to begin with. So why should I have to? Why do I need to hire people maybe I just don't like? You can do that in New York State. I can get rid of people I don't like. If I have people that are working for me that just don't fit in with the team, are constantly causing an issue or a cancer in our organization, I can fire them in New York State. It's a right to work state. As long as I'm not firing you for your race or your creed or your religion based stuff. I mean, I can do what I want. I think, where is he today, Dave? So what's he got? 20. Hold on, let me get to the stats here. Where's Judge at? Can he get? I'm not saying he can't. And again, when we're talking about the home run, his home record, okay, his home run record. I want to say he's got 27, but where are you? 28. He's got 28 now. We play how many games? We have played 79 games, so we're roughly halfway through the season. That's 56. If you just, 56 or 57, whatever. If you extrapolate that out, right? So he'd have to get really hot. It certainly he's within 3 or 4, right? So you can you can say he'd have a shot at 63. We'll see. Drew says his life's full enough hard knocks that I don't need to watch them. That's a great line, Drew. I like the show. And it depends. There's times I've started to watch it and it gets boring as hell and I don't like it. There's other times where there's some storylines, and I like the storylines that involve guys that are kind of on the peripheral, trying to make the team. Some of those storylines are really interesting. I don't care about watching Aaron Rodgers, act his way through training camp like he's going to be, the next great leader. He's a great team guy, because he's not. So I don't know. We'll see. Following 4 teams, I'll be honest with you, the in-season one that they've only run for the last couple of years has been, to me, a very interesting. And I've enjoyed it. They fouled the Dolphins last year, and I think the Cardinals, I want to say they fouled the year before. It was a year that they fired their head coach, whose name is escaping me right now, and he played quarterback for the Patriots, or backed up at one time. I can't remember his name now. So again, the interest level depends on, the storylines available. There's Anthony. I don't know how you have a whole division on one show. I mean, so you're going to use it. I don't know what they're going to do. To me, I've had fun as they've concentrated on one team, right, Anthony? So I think the whole, and I don't think I heard this wrong. Maybe I'm interpreting what they're talking about, but I'm not really sure that following 4 teams are going to be that easy. They don't do it for 17 weeks either. It's only, I don't know. I guess it might be 8, 9 shows, maybe 10. Pitch clock is making me mad, and some games are still longer. Yeah, guys are getting hurt. because of pitch clock, they're rushing themselves. And again, part of it's baseball's fault because we teach them to just go out there and throw as hard as they can, as long as they can. And, they get a little frustrated. They find they're getting short on the pitch clock and they may rush themselves and their mechanics fall apart. But I guarantee you, again, this rule was put in for one reason: speed up games, not have games end because some guy with the bases loaded lets the pitch clock expire. I mean, come on. Unintended consequences all the time. You have to think about these things. To me, there should be a caveat. If you want to have a pitch clock, which I still don't think you need, there are rules. There are rules in the Major League Baseball rule book that, if they're enforced, will speed up games. Talk to Jim Sundberg about Mike Hargrove, who was known as a human rain delay. Again, just speed up. Tell the guy to get in the box. Now, he never got out of the box. He kept 1 foot in. Just a glove, adjust his other glove, just scratch, pull on his shoulder. Jim did it really well the other day. It was funny. But even those games were 2 hours. And if you're giving me boring baseball, I'm just getting it faster, right? I mean, and there should be a caveat that the game can't end on a pitch clock violation. That's just ridiculous. That's no way to lose a ball game or win a ball game. It's frustrating, no? Thank you, Anthony. Good to have you with us this morning, buddy. Rick and Keith duking it out in fantasy baseball, 9-9. How am I always ahead on Saturday and behind on Sunday night? I just don't. My teams suck. Doing much better. Let me take a quick look at. Take a quick look here. I could adjust my lineup right now, but that'd be boring for you. If it's any consolation to you, Drew, I am doing even worse in a league called Padre Bod's Fantasy Camp. It's 2 leagues that Greg Rawlings from Baseball, America's Favorite Pastime Baseball. Great group. There's so many ex-major leaguers in that group that participate. Guys, if you're a baseball fan, go join that group. I share to it every week when there's baseball specific news. The MLB update goes there. A lot of my interviews go there. They're baseball players. Even this show goes. If we've talked about baseball for at least half the show. But some great stuff there. Greg does giveaways of baseball cards and stuff. It's really fun. And he does a show himself, a podcast. Not on there. It's on podcast. I don't know where, actually. I have to find out from Greg where you can do it. But he got me in 2 leagues, and I'm doing well in one of them. And he asked me to fill in because they needed guys. And I said, okay. Stupid me. No offense, Greg. I forget. But I'm getting killed in this one, Drew. I'm even worse than I am in your league. Ay. Go solar and batteries. You don't even know the power's out. Well, if the power goes out, Ken, your internet's going to go out still. My power comes back on in 30 seconds with a generator. I'm not going solar. I've invested enough money in our last home. Not I. We have invested enough money in our last home that I'm not putting solar on it. I don't think you can even do it here in the community that we're in. So, but we've got the power, the gas generator, which I'm sure the state of New York will outlaw here in the next couple of years because I'm destroying the environment. And that's kind of one of my goals in life is to leave as big a carbon footprint as I can because, man's great hubris is that we're destroying the planet that has had climate change pretty much for thousands of years. Planet was much hotter, much hotter thousands of years ago. Anyway, and that wasn't a shot at you, Kenny. Solar's fine for those who want it. I just don't force me. Geez, good God, you're going to tell me to get rid of my gas stove? You're going to come in and confiscate my gas stove? Gestapo. Good morning, Anthony. Again. They're approaching 1,000 wins, 991 after last night's win. Who's that? Who? Who is that? Kenny? Can't be the Yankees. Yankees got to have a lot more than that. Who are we talking about? She's probably the Rockies. MLB with 991 wins. Well, I guess I could just go look. This includes playoffs, so I don't think we can. That's not going to work. I see Clayton Kershaw, by the way. Clayton Kershaw is very close to potentially returning to the Dodgers if Danny Fuller shows up with us here this morning. Yeah. Let me go. I'm just going to go by the playoffs here. This is winning percentage. How am I supposed to do that? I'm not doing the math. Oh, here it is, wins. This is playoffs. I just can't find it quickly. Can you help me out? Who are you talking about, buddy? JB, I still like the pitch clock, but have changed my opinion on the ghost runner. Get rid of it. My opinion has never changed on that. See, the rules that really bother me are when you diametrically change the way the game is played. The ghost runner does that exactly, right? The pitch clock I didn't like because baseball was the one sport that didn't have any clock. Now, again, I don't want to watch 4 freaking hours of Yankee games with a gazillion pitching changes. That's the other thing. You can only make, pitchers have to face 4 batters. Stupid rules. Again, artificially changing the game, and some of them diametrically change the way the game is played. The ghost runner did. The pitch clock did. Enforce the rules that are in the book. Batters can't step out of the box. Pitchers have to get the pitch, the ball. They can't leave the mound and wander around. This is all made to make umpires' jobs easier and not make them enforce the rules. And by the way, make the product better, and maybe people won't care about a 3-hour game here and there. Yeah, they've done a good job speeding up the game. If I go turn on a Yankee game at 9:30, I'm in the bottom of the ninth most of the time. Used to be 11:30. So there's good and bad. The problem is you put in rules you think are good, and then there's unintended consequences, just like we had yesterday. There should not be a team that walks off with a win because of pitch clock violation. I'm sorry. That's just beyond the pale in my mind. Good morning, Ralph. Congratulations on, I guess congratulations are in order. I plan to use this once, but maybe I'll go into, maybe when I retire, I'll just, put out a shingle. Get married here, $25. Thanks, Ralph. Ralph, what I said at the top, check out Ralph's stuff on RW Media. See his tag there. Ralph does some great stuff based out of Pittsburgh. He's on a local Pittsburgh channel on TV now, and he does a lot of. You catch all his stuff here on Facebook and YouTube. And Ralph does a lot of great stuff, both Pittsburgh centric and nationally. With national coverage. And also, if you're not just a sports fan, Ralph does some political stuff as well. We do it here in a passive-aggressive manner with Keith getting his little editorial comments in here and there. Joe LaRussa. LaRussa. Joe's one of our newer followers in the last few months. Thanks for popping in today, Joe. Joe asked me, I think Joe, I'm pretty sure it's Joe that reached out to me and asked me if I related to Dave Engle, who I believe knows his dad, if I'm right. Joe, can't remember now, I can't remember the whole connection there with you and Dave. But Dave Engle he had a pretty solid major league career. Kind of played all over the field, as I remember. Played with a few teams. The team I remember him with the most, I think, is the Twins, without looking him up on the Baseball Reference. I'd love to get Dave on the show at some point. Those are I love those guys. Talking to those guys about the game. 27. How many world championships the Yankees have, Dave? I'm not sure. Yes, Yankees have 27 world championships, a lot. We were talking about teams with the most wins, and this just gives me playoff wins. Kenny referenced a team that was at approaching 1,000 wins. I don't know who that is. Drew Thorpe, who was traded by the Yankees to the Padres in the Soto deal and then traded to the White Sox in the Cease deal, finally pitched a good game yesterday. I haven't heard a lot of. I guess some of the guys that went to the Rangers have done pretty well. The prospects the Yankees have traded over the years, they probably all did better than Joey Gallo, even if they haven't made to the majors. And it's interesting to follow these guys. Isn't something that I've done a lot of late. Let me just check my personal Facebook page, make sure nobody's commenting over there. Again, feel free to follow on my personal Facebook page. I know a lot of my personal friends don't necessarily want to comment; they want to listen and watch or whatever. We get a couple hundred views there, but if you're going to comment to be safe, you're better off watching on the TGI Sports Talk page. That's all. Good stuff, though. Yes, Joe. You know what? I did promote it for you, and I've gotten away from it. I apologize. The last couple of weeks, but I would love to chat with you more about it. I know it's on 7/13. I still have. Oh crap! What did I do with that? Let me see if I can find it quick, Joe. I'm not sure if I can. Probably going to take me too long. I was promoting the Jimmy Fund, and I apologize, Joe, because of some other stuff going on. My fault. There's nobody to blame but me. I kind of have been lax in that situation the last few weeks, so I apologize. Just looking to see it because I know I downloaded a picture of it. I want to put it up quickly if I can find it. But Joe, if you want to post something real quick about that, I'll put it up now, and we can certainly talk more about it. Not knowing exactly what you would look for other than the promotion that I've tried to do for you and have failed miserably here apparently the last few weeks. My apologies. No excuse. I'm trying to see quickly if I could find the poster that I downloaded, and I don't know what I did with it. If you got a link, Joe, I can put it up and share it actually this morning. So feel free to put a link in the comments, and I can put it up in the room here, which I was doing, and I don't know how I got away from it. So I apologize profusely, Joe. So Joe's heavily involved in the Jimmy Fund, which is big out in Boston, and has been for decades. They raise a lot of money. And for kids that are in need, and it's a great event. So again, my apologies, Joe. I know I promised you that I would do that, and I was doing it religiously for a bit, and then it just got away from me the last couple of weeks. So I apologize so much. WNBA continues to shoot themselves in the foot. Brittany Griner had another incident that involves the law. He is representing the USA. I don't think he goes by he. I could be wrong. That might be humor in your. She is representing. I do believe her pronouns. Not that I keep track of these things because I don't care what people's pronouns are. I don't care to offend people, but I can't remember to put a promo up for the Jimmy Fund. I have no problem with what people do, or how they want to be identified, how they want to identify themselves. I don't care. I certainly don't care about same-sex relationships. I don't care about same-sex marriages. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is when, I'm forced to conform to other people's norms, like how I address somebody. I've got to think. If I have to think more than once about how I address somebody, I've gotten so I address everybody by name. And if my company came to me tomorrow, quite frankly, and said, you need to put your preferred pronouns in your signature, I would say, no. So do what you got to do. After you take my gas stove, you can fire me. Oh, my God. Anyway, yeah, she is representing the USA Olympics. And look she's one of the better NBA players, WNBA players. And again, by the way, let's not just pick on the Brittany Griners of the world. I don't want to defend her because, again, her actions have not been smart. I'm sure she's going to get a better deal here in the U.S. court systems than she got in the Russian court systems. But there are plenty of male athletes, by the way, who have killed people, and they're just plain bad people. Deshaun Watson, right? Let's get excited about Deshaun Watson as much as we do about Brittany Griner. Now, I know the issue is, she denounced the flag, whatever, right? Again, there's too many political issues too. If you want to enjoy sports, and I do, I can't get involved in all of that. I really can't. I mean, we talk about it. My opinion is pretty much going to be always the same when it comes to the political views of players. You guys have them. You guys voice them right and left, and it's fine. I agree with them or I don't. Same way with athletes. Disagree with a lot of things people do. I disagree with people killing people and at Super Bowl weekends and being allowed to play in the NFL and go to the Hall of Fame. That offends me a whole lot more. It's just me, though. Dave, plan on going to any Patriot games? We always plan on going to Patriot games. When we had season tickets for 10 years, basically, in the 80s. And after that, we would always go to 2 games or 3 games a year. Then it was 1 game. And then it was none. I mean, quite frankly, I can't get a ticket today at Gillette Stadium or for that wouldn't cost me more than I paid for an entire season in 10 games because I had to buy preseason games too. In 1990. Now I know prices go up, and I get that it's exorbitant everywhere. But to get in the building, and we like to sit and watch the game and enjoy it. And I like the experience of being on site. Some people don't; they'd rather watch it on TV. But being at a football game can be exciting. I loved it. We had a blast for 10 years. But I just don't want to invest, $1,000 to take my wife to a game and go with friends. And, that's with parking and gas and tickets and dinner. Blessed Sunday, everybody. Hey, CA, we haven't seen you in a bit. Good to have you with us. Sorry about your stars. I did mention earlier, by the way, that the Oilers, couple of things on the line tomorrow night, Game 7. They were down 3-0. 2 hockey teams in history have come back from 3-0. The 42 Maple Leafs against the Red Wings, and then the Red Wings returned the favor on the Maple Leafs in 45. Nobody's done it since. Nobody's ever done it in the NBA, and only one team's ever done it in Major League Baseball. The hated Red Sox against my team. And Edmonton is also trying to win Canada's first Stanley Cup in over 30 years. So good luck to them. I picked Edmonton here in the West all the way through. I was Rangers Edmonton was the series that I had circled in my calendar. Orioles set a team record with 21 straight homers with 21 straight games with a homer. Interesting. That's funny. Didn't they start off 1988 with 21 straight losses? I read a book, The Longest Season or something like that, about that 88 season. for the Orioles. I believe they lost 21 straight to start that season. I could be wrong. There's Danny Fuller. Good morning. Danny's into the TGI Sports Talk page today. Danny, I apologize profusely for missing your comments on the MLB show on Friday when they were going up on my personal page. That stuff always used to come into StreamYard, no matter where it came from. And the last few weeks, it's not coming over. So I've been kind of monitoring on my phone to see if anything comes through there, and I can at least address it. If there's comments you made, because I know we talked about Willie Mays, and you being a Dodger fan might have had some thoughts on Willie Mays. And we talked about some other things Friday. If there were comments that you brought up that day that you'd want to bring up here, certainly do so, and I'll be glad to address them. And I apologize. I think it was you, and I think Kenny. I feel like Kenny, you were on the personal page Friday as well. I thought I saw one or two comments there. But again, my apologies for now what happened. My screen blew up like crazy on my phone.
Next few weeks, it's not coming over. So Friday, if there were...
I guess we don't want to listen to me, do we? I'll check for some comments there if we have to. Anyway, good morning, Danny. Oh, let's see. Kenny says, good morning, Danny. Kenny and Rick talking, I'm assuming, about the Mohawks game last night. A lot of dittos back. Joe LaRusso. That's right. Joe used to work for Ted Williams, and Ted was huge. I'd love to have you on, Joe. We can certainly talk about, I'd love to talk about Ted Williams and whatnot. So, let's connect, Joe. We're friends on Facebook, right? So I'm assuming we are. If we aren't, go to my personal page, Keith Engle. And if you're not, send me a friend request, and we can start chatting through Messenger. I can give you my number and whatnot, and we can certainly have you on. Maybe we'll decide whether we want to, where we want to have you in and talk about the Jimmy Fund. We certainly want to do it before the 13th, right? So, maybe on an MLB update, or I don't know. We'll see where it fits. But send me a message. I know, I think we talked through Messenger, if I'm not mistaken, Joe. So, and I'd love to talk about Ted Williams and the Jimmy Fund, and perfect night for a game. Was it kind of be hotter than hell? Didn't it rain up there? We had bad storms here. Well, of course, Amsterdam's 30 miles away, but we had bad storms here pretty much from 8 to 11. They were on and off surrounding us. We didn't really get nailed directly, but they certainly were surrounding us pretty much all afternoon, or late afternoon, early evening into the night. Well, if your internet company loses power, you lose the internet. That's what I'm talking about, Kenny. Like last night, our power went out. The power came back on. I still didn't have internet for another hour or so until they repaired their situation. So, again, the internet's not necessarily tied just to the power in your house. That's my point. And actually this morning when the power kicked off and kicked back on in just 5 minutes, it was about, the internet was only out for another 5 minutes or so. But I guarantee you there'll be times you have to lose your internet. If the place that's supplying your internet loses their power, you're not going to have any internet. But again, I don't know. I don't have solar, and I'm not getting solar, so silly. I have a hard time. I have a hard time tying that back to anything, Kenny. If it's about me, then it's fine. Because I'm called a lot worse things than silly, if that's the case. Oh my gosh, right? Anthony says it's crazy how the Yankees and Orioles are way in front in the standings. Listen, and again, Danny's here, and Danny's probably waiting for me to bash my team. We got to worry about injuries. Obviously, Stanton gets hurt for the umpteenth time yesterday. We'll see what happens with him. They dodge a bullet with Judge the other night. They're playing great baseball. Both these teams, Yankees lost yesterday, right? No, they won yesterday. Sorry, they lost Friday night. Going to be a great battle, man. Game and a half. They can't. As well as the Yankees have played the last 2 months, almost 2 months, they haven't been able to shake the Orioles at all. And the Orioles came in and took 2 out of 3. And this is what happens. You know, the Braves are still a good team, and the Yankees should win this series, hopefully tonight. But, you know, the 2 biggest series in my mind they've had all year, they lost 2 out of 3. That was to the Orioles and to the Dodgers. You just need to find a way to manufacture runs. Again, anytime I'm negative about my team, I want to be wrong. I root for my team to win. I don't ever root for myself to be right when I make negative comments about my team. I want them to fix it. If I make negative comments about Stanton and I think he deserves to be sitting on the bench more than in the lineup, and I'd like to make some moves to make that happen, and make Soto the DH, actually, then I hope I'm wrong. And Stanton has a monster year, but I haven't been wrong in quite a while on that front. I haven't been wrong about this team in quite a while. Again, I'm excited. I'm happy my team's got the best record in baseball. Do I still have the best record in baseball as I say that? Yes, I do. And I do say I, by the way. I know some guys get offended when people use the first person when they're talking about their team. Me, we. I'm sorry, I and we. We, I guess, is the more. So I don't know if that's first person or something else. Maybe somebody who's smarter than me can point that out to me. Remember where I went to school. Just kidding. But I will do that forever, guys. And I do think I have the right to do that because I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on tickets, on wearables, not to mention probably tens of thousands of hours, well, at least thousands of hours, watching and rooting for my teams, both in person and on TV. So I will continue to say we. I know some people get offended by that, and I never. If you're a fair weather fan or a bandwagon jumper, then by all means don't use those terms. I feel I've earned the right, and I will continue to do that. I don't think it's any of you. It could be you guys. I don't know. I don't remember who. It hasn't come up in a while. But when things pop in my head during the Sunday stream of consciousness, they come out of my mouth, which isn't always a good thing. Danny! Kershaw's had a great showing in the minors in hearing 2 more starts. That's I think that's what I heard. I did talk about that a little bit, I think, Friday. Look, he'll be a great addition for this team if he can stay healthy. They've still got some pitching injuries. I know Buehler went back on the DL last week. I'm not sure. I didn't look that close into what his situation was. But injuries just continue to be a plethora of injuries, it seems, every day. And the DL is just like overwrought with people. A couple of MLB shows ago, I went through the injury list. This is before like 50 more guys went on a DL in the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks. And it took the whole show to go through it. Terrible. Ghost runners. Talk when we were kids. Okay, ghost runner on first, but at least those were, in the context of the way baseball was played. Even when we had ghost runners then, they were in. Oh God, it was within the context of the way we played the game. We didn't just put guys on base. So let's get this game over. Tired of playing this game. Let's get it over. Kenny, I know the pitch clock is not a God thing for sure. I know God does not have any interest in a pitch clock. If he does, he's wasting his time. He's got more important things to be worried about. I know Kenny means good. It's not a good thing. When an umpire tells you to get in the box, get in, and pitch if the pitcher leaves the mound, tell him to get his ass back up there and throw. Kenny, you're absolutely right. As I said before, there are rules that have been on the books for, over 100 years that speak to these things. Games didn't take 2 hours to play in the 70s and 60s and 50s, sometimes an hour and a half, because they had a pitch clock. It's because umpires kept the pace of play up, and there were rules, and the players followed them as well. I'm glad the game is sped up. Don't get me wrong. It should not take 4 hours to play a 9-inning game. But they're doing too many things that, just totally change the game. JB says it's generational. Millennials won't watch 4-hour game. I'll watch an interesting 4-hour game. I watch a lot of 4-hour Yankee Boston games that weren't even at it. Well, they were interesting. When they were playing in the playoffs, I talked about the 2004 playoffs, and the Red Sox and Yankees played 2 or 3 years in a row in the playoffs, and then some more later on. Those games were full of intrigue, and it didn't feel like you were watching a 4-hour game. Now other games do, but you're absolutely right. As a rule, millennials won't watch, or whatever. Are millennials? Well, Gen Z is probably old enough to watch games, aren't they? I have a hard time keeping these things straight. Came up in conversation with my son-in-law and stepdaughter about where their daughter falls. Because now I guess we're in the alpha generation and beta's next. I mean, I don't understand. I can't keep track of these things. But millennials won't watch a 4-hour game. No attention. Well, again, enforce the rules, right, JB? And you're going to get a 4-hour game. But it ought to be, a 17 or 18 or 24-inning game. So get rid of the ghost runner. They promised to take that away. Rob Manfred lies through his teeth. MLB product is great with so many budding superstars. Fantastic league. There are a lot of young players that are coming on the horizon now. But there's a lot of bad baseball out there, too, at the same time, JB. I watch it a lot of times with my Yankees. Again, as a baseball purist, it's hard for me to watch the way some of these games are played. It doesn't mean I don't still love the game. But I also realize that I've got to come to grips, as I have with a lot of other things. I've got to stop, being their curmudgeon and just accept things the way they are sometimes. And this is what we are. I talked about Willie Mays. One of the great things about Willie Mays, he played at a time. He was only striking out 70, 80 times a year. I think he struck out 100 times once or maybe twice in his career. I had it up Friday. He was hitting 49 home runs and striking out 70 times. Now we don't care about putting a bat on the ball. We care about hitting the ball out of the ballpark or walking. Exit velocity, launch angles. Alan Perales, how are you, buddy? Ripped your team a lot the other day, and they won 3 in a row since I repped them. So they were in danger of falling right out of this race. They've gained a game and a half, I think, since we talked on Friday. You got Scherzer coming back tomorrow, or tonight, I should say. Today. But the Rangers need a lot of help, man. That's just they're in third place now, too, by the way. Did I get ordained to help my golf? I did not get ordained to help my golf. I've prayed to God every time I get over a ball. He's never helped me once. Never. Maybe I should talk to him someplace other than the golf course. Yeah, I guess that's my problem. Joe LaRussa put up Joe LaRussa's name. I don't know why. Yes. I think he's talking about we're friends, so. Oh, how did this come up again? Did I go backwards? Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll do something, Joe. We'll definitely do something. Speaking of former Yanks, Josh Smith is playing very well right now. How well is Josh Smith actually playing? Let's check this out. By the way, guys, I forgot to invite Jim again this morning. So we're going to go into Game 7. We'll get it with him to wrap up the playoffs next week. I want to see how well Josh Smith is playing. Baseball reference. Here we go. Oh, that's not him. He's a basketball player. What's he doing? 304, 6 homers, 30 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 393 on base percentage. That is very good. Question's going to be, what's he going to do when Young comes back? Will he be I don't know about his versatility. I look at his size, and I think he could probably play other places. Let me see if let's look at his fielding. I can probably tell. No, don't tell me where he played. Oh, second base, third base, shortstop, left field. He can play a lot of places. He could be a nice super sub for this team once Young comes back. So Josh Smith is playing very well. So I knew a couple of these guys the Yankees traded for. Well, listen, they wouldn't have to perform at a very high level to outperform what the Yankees got out of that freaking human windmill you sent us. Dodgers and Angeletti, rare Sunday off. Well, this is another thing that kills me about Major League Baseball. Why is any team off on a Sunday? Why is any team off on Memorial Day? Why is any team off on 4th of July? I don't care when the days fall. Well, Monday's Memorial Day is always going to be a Monday, obviously. Labor Day, it's always a Monday. 4th of July obviously varies. There, I just gave you a lesson on holidays. But why are we taking these holidays, which used to be huge for families to go to the ballpark when they could afford it, and not playing on these days? Do I have to keep saying Boston? Danny's torturing me. Call my mom. Let's see where we got people watching from today. We got a really good, we got a couple people on one person on my page right now. Oh, there's more than one person. Sorry. I don't know why this doesn't give it all. We got a pretty good group on TGI Sports Talk. Why do I have 2 there? Oh, that's YouTube. Decent on YouTube. Nothing on Twitter today. Twitter's been really good though recently. A lot of later views. So, just to kind of talk about the views a little bit. Any of these shows will get, when we're going live, well, anywhere between, 80 and 200 views. But once I share them to the groups that I belong to, that's where we really take off and get to whatever it is, 1,000. It'll range anywhere from, sometimes we'll be under 1,000. It depends on, sometimes I don't get to sharing them because something comes up, and like the MLB update, right? If I don't share it right then and there, it's kind of dated by Sunday a little bit, not like Friday's show wouldn't be, because we talk so much about Willie Mays. So, and then we get to 25 or 3,000, or, Jim Sundberg's interview is probably going to go to 4,000 views. Tim Worley's interview went to nearly 12,000 views. So, guys, tremendous. I mean, the last 30 days, there's like 50,000 views of all my shows. That's just Facebook. My page on Facebook, not my personal page, not YouTube, which I don't get a ton of traffic for whatever reason. Twitter can be very good. But the groups really drive this. So thank you so much. Across the river, Michael Gott. Did you pick a team yet, Michael? Did you pick a team? I know Michael wanted to get into Major League Baseball more. Did you pick a team? And did you find a way to watch that team? So welcome from across the pond in the UK, Michael Gott. Great to have you with us. Michael, were you? I'm not sure. I don't remember how you said you found our show. I'm curious how you found the show. I don't know if you knew Dan Dave Harrison. I forgot to give Dan the thumbs up at the top. Sorry, had a lot of stuff I was carrying. Dan, thumbs up. The late great Dan Harris. I don't know if you were. I think I might have asked you this already, and I apologize for my soon-to-be 64-year-old brain. But I'm always curious how guys find us, and we're happy when they stick with us. So we're welcome to have you, or happy to have you, and welcome aboard. Joe, register via Everbright. Jimmy Fund benefit at Ted Williams alumni camp. Thank you for that, Joe. And again, I'll push it. I'll find a link. I found a link. I think you sent me a link. I thought I saved the poster to my my pictures in my computer, and I can't find it quickly because I was putting up the poster, and then I got away from it. So I made myself a note here, and I probably stopped writing myself a note, which is how I forgot. So anyway, check out that Jimmy Fund. Give $1, give $5, give $10. Don't have, one beer this weekend out. I think we're going to go out to dinner later, maybe down to Laney's. I haven't been down to Laney's in a while, and Latham would like it a lot. Maybe I'll have an adult beverage or so. When the walls come down, what are you talking about? Who is that? It sounds like is that that's not Spinal Tap. Who is that? CA with Messier's references. Kenny's not personal in any way. I think Kenny leads the league in Facebook suspensions. I'm not sure. Of this group, I'm not sure, and I don't follow you all that as closely, probably, or see your stuff, or you don't comment maybe when you. I shouldn't say that. I do follow all you guys when your stuff comes up in my feed, or I see something and I go check out your page. But Kenny's been Kenny's worn his Facebook suspensions like a badge of honor. I think, which he should. I've been there, man. I don't know. I think Kenny's at least found out why he got suspended maybe once or twice, but I never found out. And I don't do a lot of, again, everybody, Kenny and I don't agree on a lot of things politically, I'm sure. But that doesn't, I don't base my friends and my relationships on their politics. I can disagree with them. If people, and I know Kenny's not doing this, if people, don't want to associate with me because of my politics, well, that's their prerogative. There's a lot of reasons people don't want to associate with me. That's just another one. Oh, Scott Colby's here. Thank you, Scott, for joining us at 9:35 and not 10:29. I'm only mad at your Red Sox in the sense that, by the way, your Red Sox have played some pretty good baseball again recently. A lot of schizophrenic teams in baseball, right? But I was talking, Scott, and maybe you heard me. I was talking about teams that have overcome 3-0 deficits, and your stinking Red Sox are one of them. Just throw the frickin' Dave Roberts out. Series is over. Mo. Probably lost 2 games in his whole life in the playoffs. It was that one and the one to the Diamondbacks. Probably more than 2, but still. By the way, sorry, just to go back here for a second. I'll get your comment in a second, Drew. I touched on this a little bit Friday, and I'm gonna get on one of my favorite players a little bit. We talked a lot about Willie Mays on Friday, and Willie was, again, to me, the greatest all-around baseball player that ever played the game. He and Babe Ruth are 1 and 2, or 2, 1 and 2, whichever way you want to put them as far as best baseball players. Willie was by far the best all around. Drew mentioned, usually we talk about 5-tool players. Drew talked about 7 tools, and it might even go as high as 10 if we want to really break it down the way Drew was, and he's right. But anyway, Derek Jeter supposedly is still miffed that he didn't get 100% of the vote when he was voted in. Well, the only guy who ever did was Mo Rivera, and I love Mo, and I would not have a problem if he got in at 98.7. Willie Mays, who very well may be the best player that ever played the game, certainly in the top 2, and there's no way you can even say he's not in the top 5 if you want to even make an argument, got 94% of the vote. There's some guys who just aren't going to vote for you on the first ballot. It's just what they do. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying get over it. You're in the Hall of Fame. It doesn't matter whether you got 75% of the vote or 100%. You're there and you deserve to be there, by the way, Derek. And if you are still harboring a grudge, stop. Red Sox 8-2 in their last 10. They're in, they're out, they're up, they're down. Yeah, that's what I talk about. There's a few teams. Drew, I made a couple of notes about schizophrenic teams. The Boston's won. The Padres are won. Padres have been one. They've won 5 in a row, I think, again. The whole AL West has been kind of schizophrenic this year. The Angels and A's have kind of stopped being schizophrenic and returned to norm. But yeah, I kind of I've been notated this a few times. And the Red Sox certainly fall into that mode. Because they pulled into what? What are they now? 5? What are they? 5 games over 500. They're in decent position for a wild card since we give out like 8 of them. Come on, Keith. I don't know where I'm. What? Come on, Keith. I don't know where I'm at going you from. I'm sorry, Kenny. It's all in good nature. I can't do much with that comment right there. There's some missing punctuation or missing words or something. This looks like something I would write. I'm sure you can correct that. CA, solar panels in the Northeast, as dumb as it used to be in the UK. As any use in the UK. Don't be an idiot. Don't call my friends idiots now, CA. Let's be nice. Guys are entitled to do what they want. And there's a lot of solar panels here. And there's more sunshine here than you think, by the way. Now, it's not Texas, where, homes burst into flames just because it's so hot. I don't think that's a real thing. No, but look, you want solar power? That's great. And I know a lot of people use solar power here in the Northeast, and it's very effective. I'm just not a fan, and I like my traditional sources of energy, and I'll stick with it until they take it away from me. Oh, scary. What a women's tennis match between Pagula and Kaylin Skaya. 6-6, third set tiebreaker for the championship in Berlin. What's the tournament? I don't even know what it is. Scott's gotten big into following tennis. Gave me a winner, which I didn't even know I won on back when I think it was during the French Open, right? Scott, I haven't made another bet since, so I've got money sitting on my DraftKings account. I didn't even know I had because I thought I lost that match. Scott told me like a week later I won. So, Mohawks on the verge. Oh, Mohawks are on the verge of 1,000 wins. 991. MLB, I would think all of them have surpassed 1,000 wins. I'm not sure about the Rockies. No, they have. Yeah, that's why that confused me a little bit, Kenny. So thank you for pointing that out. That's really good, and maybe and again it brings up A great point of getting Rob and Keith Griffin on. I wonder how many of those that. Well, Rob's been involved since the very beginning, so he's responsible for every one of those 991 wins. I wonder how many of those Keith Griffin's been available for. I know that he, if I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me, he was the manager of the Mohawks for a while, didn't come back for a year, 2 years. There was a time frame he didn't coach, and then he came back. And I don't even know if we call him manager there or coach. I think it's head coach. I'm not positive. Not that it matters. It's the same job. Scott, what a time in New England sports right now. Celtics win their 18th title. I'll add the 18 in there. Record number, by the way. Great job by the Celtics. Congratulations. Well done. I'm hoping the Knicks can come back next year and run it back. Again, I talked about this earlier, Scott, that the Knicks are going to have a hard time. And I think the Knicks can push the Celtics if they run it back with OG and bring Hartenstein back. Get a healthy Randall and add a couple bench pieces. That's all we need. The problem with that is the Knicks have not been over the salary cap since Leon Rose has been running the organization. In fact, when he took over, they were like, I don't know, 20. They were last in the league maybe in payroll. They moved up to the 20s the 2 years after that, and they're only 18 last year in payroll. But to re-sign OG, and they knew this when they traded for him, to re-sign him, who they were 26-6 with last year, by the way, and Hartenstein, they're going to get pushed probably not just over the salary cap, but into the second tier, which really has some severe penalties to it. And the fact that you cannot offer any material exemptions during the course of the year. You can only offer one player in a trade. So it'd be a little tough. So anyway, I thought I'd touch on that again while you brought up the Celtics. Congratulations to the Celtics. They've been knocking at the door for half a decade or maybe a little better. But great job. Red Sox in the wild card race. Yes, they should be able to get one of those 10 wild card spots for sure. And the Sun in the top two in the WNBA standings. You don't hear much about this Boston Sun. Boston New England sports could be back. Well, let's see about the Pats. I've got Kyle. I know you don't. I talked about this with Alan on his show a couple of Saturdays ago, or a week ago Saturday. Well, that's a couple of Saturdays ago, right? And he mentioned that you saw them with, I think, 4 or 5 wins, Scott. And I'm I'm in between. I can certainly see them not winning more than 4 games. But I can see a path if everything breaks right. The offensive line does their job. Brissett can be effective in managing the game. Don't make big mistakes. If Rashande, who just signed a shiny new contract, can stay healthy, I think Stevenson's a top 5 back in this league if he stays healthy. I think this team could find a way to 9 wins. Everything has to break right. But so I can see it going bad. I can see it going okay. But we'll see. It is a good time to be a New England fan. Unfortunately, I only root for one of those teams. Interesting you mentioned the WNBA. The Fever have played better recently. Caitlin Clark doesn't seem to be getting her head taken off every night. I don't know whether some of these players are smartening up or realizing, look at she's an important thing to this league. Whether you want her to be or not is irrelevant. Her succeeding will only put money in your pocket. So short-sighted these players that do the things that they're doing. And I get the jealousy. And I mean, we have to be honest. I mean, she's promoted the way she is, and right or wrong, whatever you want to say, she's promoted as the great white hope of this league. That's what it is. That's why Larry Bird was such a big deal in the NBA. Decades ago, obviously, but it is what it is. We still look at things. It's sad that we do, but that's what we do. for them to drive ratings and fill stadiums and get bigger TV contracts, they feel that this is what's needed. Maybe it is, and if that's the case, it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. You might as well call it what it is. She's the Great White Hope. You tiptoe around it too much. There's a lot of racial undertones here in the situation that's gone on. And her teammates need to back her up. And the team's playing better recently as well. They're not winning the title. And her getting left off the Olympic team, I don't really have a big issue with that. I really don't. I don't think it was and again, I think it may have happened to kind of ease some of the backlash because she's getting so much attention. But, you can't deny the fact that, when Angel Reese's team goes into a place, the place is half full. And when Caitlin Clark comes in, it's at capacity. Those are just facts. And the reason for that, we may not like, but it's a reality. The Phillies, 312, take over from the Yankees at 322 after New York blow-ups. 17-4 game the other night didn't help any for sure. Good news with Garrett Cole pitching and coming out of it injury-free, and he pitched fairly well. That will only help. I worry about the pitching staff a bit with Clark Schmidt out at least another month. Nestor's pitched pretty well. I think he pitched really well against Baltimore the other night. I like the way he protected his player. I don't think really for a minute that the Orioles were trying to hit Judge when he got hit on the hand, and they were worried about the possible break. But I don't think they were. But yeah, they were pitching inside, which is okay. But you got to protect your hitters too. That's the way the game was always played. Protect your hitters. So Nestor sent a message to Gunnar, and we moved on. That's how you play the game. Well, you should play the game. Anthony Price, love the Washington Redskins, 100% fans emoji. On my bucket list to sit at a home Redskins game. Love the political incorrectness on this show. This is my favorite part. Guys buy into my political incorrectness. Anthony, I've had this conversation for a long time. Danny's on my page, on the same page with me with a lot of stuff. That doesn't necessarily a good thing for you, Danny, but I like it. Ray's 102, Jay's 107, Jay's 102 have given up the most home runs. That explains a lot. Yes, it does. Blue Jays now 6 games under 500. How long are they going to stick with Schneider? This team's underperformed for 2 years, in my mind. Too much talent. And this team's probably going to trade at the deadline. I think the only guy safe on that team is Bo Bichette. I think Vlad could very well get traded, and I'd love to see him in New York. He'd be a great upgrade. I love Rizzo. He's out 4 to 6 weeks right now with an arm injury of his own. But he's been underperforming, and last year it was a concussion syndrome was the reason. What's the reason now? I mean, maybe he's just not going to be the Anthony Rizzo he ever was. Still very good defensively. I'd love to see Vlad on this team, but they're not gonna trade him to a division rival. That's not going to happen. With Vlad, I'd watch out for the Astros, Alan. Watch out for the Astros in the Vlad Guerrero sweepstakes when it comes around. We went. It's Rick. Well, Rick knows this, and Kenny knows this because I talk about this because I think his wife. And again, I apologize, Paula, for any times I've seemed like I'm disparaging the faculty at Perth. No, I joke a lot. We went to a small school, in the middle of nowhere at the time, and I joke about that. I wouldn't trade my high school education and my high school experiences for anything in the world. Nothing. Love growing up in Perth. And I loved going to Perth Central High School, which no longer exists. And our teachers were really good. They were good teachers. They taught us how to gamble. We went to their bars. Oh, sorry. Some things coming out of my mouth can be very scary for me and anyone. We're all that way, Kenny. I've done the same thing. I go, well, did I just say that? I thought I had my invoice, my inside voice, my inside my head voice going. Oh, God. Yeah, well, Rockies, the only way they're going to win games is, on walk-off pitch clock violations. Are you freaking kidding me? Let's see. By the way, since Friday, the White Sox won a game. Bastards. So now they're ahead. I think they're only on 119 loss pace. So they're not going to break the record if they keep playing this hot, grandiose style of baseball that they're playing now at a 269 pace. He said, which nobody ever said. As kids, we played with ghost fields. Remember, we couldn't do it right. See, I do remember. You couldn't hit it to right field. We played those games all the time. Right field was no good. Had to pull everything. But ghost was because we didn't have enough players. Agreed. Yeah, Danny, that's what I was talking about. We put ghost runners on, but we still put them on in the context of playing a baseball game, right? We play three-man teams. And we kind of play like a round robin. So it'd be three of us against each other. And we had three of us that were playing. Somebody played in the outfield, somebody pitched, and somebody hit. So, we had a lot of fun, man. We had a lot of fun. Sometimes we had more, but that's all I needed. Sometimes we played with two. My brother and I got to be, and I'll pat myself on the back a little bit. When I was a kid, a young kid, young kid, I wasn't any good. Little League, Wee Men my first year, so it's really struggled. But my brother and I came up with this game. And I worked. I didn't have natural ability that some of my friends had. Maybe I had more, and I just didn't know how to get to it. But my brother and I played games in the backyard all by ourselves. I'd be the Yankees. He'd be the Mets because that was our teams. And we had an old garage, old barn, really, in the backyard. And there was a big tree. And we took the cover off a tennis ball, and we'd use baseball bats. And this pitching, and we'd switch off, right? Play our lineups. I'd hit right-handed and left-handed depending on which way the batter I was emulating hit. And we would you could throw those balls without the cover on a tennis ball. You can throw that thing so hard, and you can make it do things, sliders and curveballs that were amazing, but you could throw it hard. It hurt when it hit you. And we were only not even 30 feet away from each other, probably pitching and hitting. And we hit into the tree and whatever. If you caught on one bounce, it was an out. If you hit it past them, it was a single. If you hit it, there was a old trailer beyond the tree. If you hit it off the trailer, it was a double. You hit it over the trailer, it was a home run. And we'd play for hours and day after day after day. And and then I'd be out there bouncing a ball off the same barn, picking up grounders and throwing to first base in my mind. And I got better because I worked hard at it. And not to pat myself on the back, I think I became a pretty good ball player. But through hard work mostly. Not natural talent. I had to have some talent, I suppose, to bring out. But I had to work, and I do think I became a pretty good ball player, and I enjoyed it a lot. And a lot of it was because of the things we did and the games we made up, right? But we played by major league rules, except for that tree in the middle of the field. I mean, we had to make allowances for that. But Sorry, I digress, and I had to. I had to stream some consciousness here. White Sox batting 220. Followed by the A's, and amazing, the Mariners hitting 222 and in first place. It's an interesting number. That was one of the things that I had about, I don't think those stats really bode well for teams in the postseason, right? You got to be able to score runs. They got a really good pitching staff. I've said before, and I know that Robert Waldron, I can't remember Robert's last name. I think it was Waldron. He's our big Seattle fan up in Washington. They got a really good starting staff. Maybe need a little help in the bullpen, but they need a bat. Vlad might get it up there. Ty France hasn't set the world on fire up there, that's for sure. The Buffalo Bills are sponsored with Gay Flag Football League. I did not know that. That's interesting. Again, that's fine. I don't have a problem. You know what I wonder about, though? And Bill Maher brought this up a couple of weeks ago. He was interviewing, might have been John Waters, who's obviously gay. And he talked about like Pride Week or Pride Month or whatever we're in now, which, again, I don't have a big problem with NFL teams, putting up a flag to support it or a banner or whatever. It just doesn't bother me. Which is strange given my political allegiances, I guess. But I don't care about those social issues necessarily. I'm very liberal there. But the only place I'm very liberal is there. If you've ever had a conversation with me, you would know that. But he had mentioned, Bill Maher was asking him that it was in the beginning, this was Gay Pride Month, right? Now it's everything. And I can't even tell you all the letters because new letters got thrown in here the other day, the LGBTQ something else plus. It's all of that is included in the movement, which is fine. But he was asking, whether the gays were upset because, then now they're lumped in with everybody else. And I say this only because, I still don't have a problem with, I don't care if the Bills sponsor a gay flag football league. I don't care about any of that. If I don't want to see it, I won't watch it. I don't care about same-sex relationships or marriages. I just don't care. All I care about is when you start to tell me how I need to interact with you. That's not cool. Now, again, I'm not saying they should be allowed to be bullied or discriminated against at all. But, when I have to worry about how I have to make my signature, no. Continuing on this pitch clock, there is a rule called the travesty rule. It was put in for these things. I used it once, and Kenny was an umpire, just to be clear. He used it once and gave a team a win when the other team refused to run after fair balls. Well, that would be a travesty. I did not know that there was a travesty rule in baseball. And why would they have refused to run after fair balls? They wanted to get their asses kicked, or was there a run rule and they wanted to get home to watch the Brady Bunch? What was it? I used the Brady Bunch because when I played Little League, I got home, the Brady Bunch was on. Just traveled 50 years back in time or more. Of course, it's Stanky's best record in baseball. Keith looks at the extra large coffee, and Keith looks at the extra large coffee head full. It was full. Second one. The mug looks bigger on the camera, though. So if I go closer, it looks huge, right? Even back here. My head isn't even this big. Maybe it is. Oh, I love that cup. I love big, heavy coffee cups. Big, heavy coffee cups. I didn't grab my TGI Sports cup this morning. I got a nice new Yankee cup that's nice and heavy. And even this one's from. I just love this one. If you watch Last Man Standing, which is a great show, and Tim Allen got canceled because of his right-wing political views, which he brought into his show. But it was a very funny show, and funny's funny to me. Even shows that espouse views that aren't mine. If it's funny and well done, it's so funny. But they have these great coffee cups, big, heavy mugs. And at one time you could buy them, and I didn't do it. And then watching the shows and reruns, I wanted them, and you can't find them anymore. So anyway, this one's from St. Martin's in West Indies is where I got this cup. And I think I have another one just like it. But it was a great cup. I love big, heavy cups. We're streaming to consciousness now, aren't we? Drew's favorite name was a Lost Generation around World War II. Makes them sound as if they're just wandering in the wilderness. Or at a dog track somewhere, Drew. I mean, we had I was telling somebody about this at work. that one, I'm probably getting closer to the time when my family will take me to the dog track and just leave me there. There was this phenomenon. I don't remember when it was, like the 80s or maybe it was the 90s. I don't know. Where people would just take their old folks at a dog track and leave them there. There was a couple of stories. I'm not saying it was a whole trend. But, oh, God. The Greatest Generation was a generation that fought in World War II. If you want to read a really good book, Tom Brokaw's The Greatest Generation is just a tremendous book. And if you really want to understand the men and women that made this country great, in my mind, read The Greatest Generation. There's your book plug, Tom. Send me some money. The retired home priest can help your golf game a lot. I played with him and he cheats, Scott. Freaking guy. I knew I shouldn't have come to the home that had a priest. I'm a spiritual person. I am not a religious person. I'm a very spiritual person, but I don't have an organized religion, and I never will. So I knew when there was a priest at the home, I should have probably found a new home. And not my home, just to be clear, guys. There's a running joke on Let's Talk Sports about Scott and I being so old we're in a home and roomies, and Scott steals my Jell-O or my pudding every night. Bastard. Felix Potvin, brother of Dennis Potvin, great Islander. I think he is. Let me make sure. As Scott gets our little obscure birthday out here, that's Scott, Chris, our Toronto correspondent. Let me check out Felix, because now I'm interested. I'm always interested when you throw these names at me because I learn stuff. If you don't know me, again, that well, I love innocuous information. I'm very good when I play Jeopardy because I know a lot of stuff that will never get me anywhere in life. Categories that have something that would, information that would get me somewhere in life, I suck at. Oh, maybe he's his son. He looks very young. He's married. He's 53. No, he couldn't be his son at 53, could he? Let's look at Felix Potvin's Wikipedia page. Does not say anything. Maybe he's not related to Dennis Potvin at all. He's currently lives in with his wife Sabrina Tardif and his 3 children in Magog, Quebec. Doesn't say anything about him and Dennis Potvin. So I guess you can fill me in there if he is related to one of my favorite hockey players of all time, Dennis Potvin. DHM2, I'm sure you're still talking about Josh Smith. Yeah, sure. Keep his bat in the lineup, though. He's playing very well. And he looks to be a guy that you can play all over the field. Those guys are underrated in baseball, guys who can play, like Cabrera, when he's playing well, it's a huge part of that Yankee team. He hasn't played as well as he played his rookie year since, but he's shown some spurts this year. But Josh Smith is a great guy to fill that type of position. Yes, we're going to get Larry on a Friday. Again, it'll be a one-on-one, but it won't be a. We've already had Larry on for an interview about his career and whatnot. We'll touch on some of that, but I'd like to get Larry on the one-on-one to talk more about a little more about college sports, which we have him on the College Football Huddle to talk about the game today. Larry pitched for a long time in the major leagues in the 70s and 80s with several teams. You had some really good years with the Brewers and then moved around to the Cardinals and the A's and a couple other teams. His hometown, I don't think he ever got to pitch for his hometown Detroit Tigers. Went to the University of Michigan. And we can talk to him a little bit about some of the college stuff going on as well. But we'll definitely get Larry out for one of these Fridays in coming up in July or August. The NHL is manipulated as much as the NFL. That's the truth. So again, if you're going where I think you're going here, CA, I can't disagree more. Sorry. And again, maybe you're not. I'm trying to read between the lines here. But when you say the word manipulated, I hear the word fixed and I hear the word scripted. And I don't buy any of that in sports, because if I did, I wouldn't watch. I really wouldn't. I watch professional wrestling if I want to watch scripted sports. I don't think anything in sports is scripted. Do I think they want certain outcomes? Sure. Do I think they do anything to control the outcomes of series and playoff series? No. And if you're not going there, then I apologize. But given the way you compared it to the NFL, and I know some of the posts I see and endure during football season about scripted games, and I'm sorry, I can't buy into it. I'll try not to use any offensive adjectives here, but because I like you, CA, and you have great insight on a lot of things on the show, and I'm sure others, but this one is one I'll just never buy into, ever. For Twitter viewers, you're way too long. Anything longer than 3 minutes will be losses on them. Well, that's true, but I got to tell you, there are times where there's 2,000 or 3,000 views. So somebody's doing something, and I'm not saying they're there watching the whole show. Even when I've 11,000 views for the Tim Worley interview, do I think that we had 11,000 people watch, an hour and 20 minutes at an interview? No, probably not. Some of them probably watch 5 minutes. But I don't really care. But yeah, I get your point. It's not TikTok. If it was TikTok, I'd have to make the show 30 seconds. And even Twitter, because we do have a very short mind span these days, right? I mean, everything's got to be quick, and move on. Us old folks can spend 2 hours just talking about stuff. Michael Gott, no team yet. Come on, dude. You're a Yankee fan. I can see it all over your. I don't see your face, but I can see it all over your logo. Looking into watching more baseball in the future. Found this channel by chance on YouTube through the algorithm. Well, that's good. That's awesome. So you didn't know my good friend Dan Harris, who we miss a lot. Great guy. Was located over there in the UK. Michael Gott came over and watched No, don't come over and watch the Dodgers. That's too far away for you on the West Coast. You're already 5 hours. How are you going to watch games 8 hours in the past? Don't pick the Yankees. Keith Engle tears into them present, past, and I'm guessing future. I don't tear into the team in the past. Well, I shouldn't say the recent past. I do. And again, I want my team to do. I want them to play the game the right way, and I want them to win championships. I'm not happy. Danny, you, like anybody else, should understand. You can't be happy as a Dodger fan that your team hasn't won a World Series. Oh, you did win in the, and I don't want to sound like Mark Mancini. I'm not going to totally disregard your championship in 2020 because of COVID, and we played 60 games. Whatever. Everybody played the same amount of games. Everybody played on the same playing field, and the championship is a championship. But before that, you had won a championship. Are you happy with 2 world championships in 36 years? You can't be as a Dodger fan. Again, I will be hard on my team. And when I see the same things repeated over and over again, season after season, I will question the people that are running the team and putting these teams together. I mean, this is great to have the best record in baseball, but the Yankees have gone into the playoffs with 100 wins, 98 wins, 97 wins under Aaron Boone, and not made a World Series. This is the most historic franchise in baseball. Sorry, Danny. You are in the top 5. I think the Cardinals are second, by the way. It's the most historic franchise in baseball, and they've been in 2 World Series in 22 years. 21 years. And won 1. The Giants have won 3. The Royals won 1 in that time frame. The Rangers have won in that time frame. I should be happy with that. I don't want to sound spoiled, but gosh, man. Oh, let me see something here. Martha Azari Barber with a love up there. Good to see that. That's a new name. Hopefully you'll comment, Martha. Kenny said he's not made Scott Kobe. He's not mad Scott Kobe of the Red Sox. Put the stanky. Everybody's picking up on the Stankies here. They put the Stankies in their record book. I would bet if that does happen again and some team ties them, they'll go out and do it again and take back the records. Who's going to tie us? It's not going to happen in my lifetime. I don't think. Let me see where we stand right now just to see. Yankees are at 27. The Cardinals, who are second, have 11. 11. The Red Sox do have 9. And I'm guessing that, you put the Yankees in the record book because you traded as Babe Ruth, I guess. But Babe Ruth only played on how many of those World Series teams? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Maybe a few more. Nobody's going to match. Nobody's going to get to 27. If the Yankees don't win, I mean, none of us are going to be alive to see the Yankees get tied. Your kids aren't going to be alive to see the Yankees tied. If the Yankees never win another World Series, your grandchildren will not see the Yankees get tied or passed. I mean, it's just simple math and logic. It's not going to happen. That's the Yankees mentality. That's why they're hated with your comment on Jeter. Why? I'm hated because I say a player, my player. I want to make sure you're clear on what I said. I said Derek Jeter should forget his maybe you're talking about Jeter. Oh, okay. I think I get it now. I thought you were talking about me. You're talking about Jeter. And again, I do think he's probably a little annoyed. And I would say this about any player, by the way. I mentioned Jeter, and I guarantee there's other guys who think they should have been unanimous. There's certainly fans who think guys like Tom Seaver and whatever. If you're a Hall of Fame worthy player in year one, then you should be voted for, because you don't get more worthy as you go on. Actually, I guess you do, as enough time goes by. That's why we're getting the Harold Bainses of the world in the Hall of Fame. But you can't have that attitude, right? And that's, again, I don't think it makes Jeter a bad guy. My guess is if Mo Rivera hadn't been gotten a unanimous selection, Jeter would never even have thought about it. Because I think there's only one or two guys that voted against him. And there's always going to be one or two guys. Why Mo got in, I have no idea. Because there's always one guy. And look at Willie Mays gets 94% of the vote. That's more than one guy. And to me, it doesn't matter. You get in with 75 or you get in with 100. You're a Hall of Famer. Nobody's tallying that up. Yes, it's a big deal when a guy gets in unanimously, because it never happened before. But I think I get your opinion. There you go. I see. He doesn't deserve hatred. Why would you hate him? He's a great player. Appreciate the great player. As Derek should appreciate his Hall of Fame induction. Right? And not worry about the percentage. Who cares? By the way, he's not the first guy in the history since I've been a kid. I've seen these arguments about years and years that this guy should be the first guy to be unanimous. And if he doesn't get it, it's an outrage. Why? There's always to be one jerk out there. But anyway, I would hate the guy for that. I know you hate him because he was a great player and they won a bunch of World Series before, the fake blood on a sock and all that stuff. French Open with Violinets, whatever her name is. Thank you for that winner, Scott. I haven't paid for electric in 3 years, so it does work in the Northeast. No, I agree, Kenny, that people that want that type of power, whatever it is, if it's to save money or if you feel like you're saving the planet, then God bless you. I don't have a problem with that. I think it was CA that brought that up. I mean, I think we get a lot more sun here than they get in the UK. Maybe it's not practical in the UK, and maybe it's not practical in the Great Northwest where, but you get sun everywhere you go. The sun is out all the time. And I would guess, since I can go out on a cloudy, hazy day and get a sunburn, I would guess that I'm collecting some kind of solar energy, even when the sun's not out. I don't know that much about it because I'm not that interested in it, but it is what it is. Matt Lidoff. Lydia, how do we say your last name, Matt? Good morning to you. Good to have you back with us. I said Lydia. Lidioff. I'm going to say Lidioff. If I'm wrong, you can correct me, buddy. I like to say at least the people's names on the show, right? I can't say anybody else's name, right? Keith can find a glass half full with Pats, but that's not true. Maybe I'm a half glass. Maybe I am a half glass empty guy with the Yankees. I'm sorry. But remember something. The Patriots have won 20 Super Bowls in the time the Yankees have won 2 World Series. I'm sorry. Did I say 20? 6 Worlds. Sorry. 20. That I had a little dream there, I guess. They won 6 Super Bowls in the time the Yankees were winning 2 World Series. I don't know. I know I sound hard, but here's the thing. Again, Danny, remember, I'm always hoping I'm wrong. I want this to be the year they go to the playoffs and don't stop hitting. Right? Everybody wants to blame the Astros for the Yankees and not making the World Series against your Dodgers in 2018, whatever the asterisk year was for the Astros. I'm not giving that's the most overblown scandal in the history of baseball, by the way. People have been stealing signs for decades. They took it to another level. But I'm not going to speak for the Dodgers. Maybe they got more of a right to be angry. But the Yankees didn't hit. The Yankees didn't score any runs. The Yankees got no reason to blame the sign stealing scandal on not getting to the World Series and past the Astros and the ALCS. I'm just not a guy who will say, before the year, my team's going 162-0. When my team's in first place, I'm happy. I'm very happy. You should see me when they're not playing well. You should have seen me last year, Danny. I'm difficult on any team that I think is not playing the game the right way or put together the right way. I will do that with everybody. Oh, what do you got here? 9 wins. I'll give you 7.5. Listen, I also said they could win 4. Don't disregard the fact that I said I can find in a perfect universe, which we don't live in, 9 wins. Okay. Do I already owe you? I already owe you. I already owe you 1. I'm not drinking soda. I'm drinking beer. Beer or coffee. Right, I owe you 1 for the Dodger series. I hope I can get to Baltimore. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. I should probably start looking at the logistics of that pretty soon. I get such a busy summer, man. Every time I go up, there's something planned for me. This weekend's free, though. We're going to go have a little dinner and whatnot. But then the 4th of July is coming. And what, 2 weeks from now? 2 weeks from Thursday. I'm going to take some time off that week and just chill. But I think I've got plans for me now. We're going to the Culinary Institute, the CIA, on the 6th, meet some friends of my wife's for dinner. Maybe a trip to Mystic in July. Man, I need to be retired. I really do. Anyway, no way Pats win 6. Well, first of all, we won't know by September what the record's going to be. Again, I also said they could win 4. So let's not forget, I said I can see scenarios between 4 and 9 wins. I can see 9 wins. Teams turn it around and surprise people all the time. There's some talent on this team that people are not aware of. The defense is maybe a top 10 defense in the NFL. Still. That was without Matthew Judon most of last year. That was without Gonzalez, who was playing great at corner without most of the year. The offense has got to step up. The offensive line has got to protect the quarterback and open some holes for Stevenson. We need some talent on the outside. There's some talent there. Some guys can step up. Thornton can step up. We're going to get oh my God. Help me out, Scott. Who's my favorite wide receiver? I can't remember his name. Very important to this offense. So important I don't remember his name. Oh my God. It just kills me. Wide receiver. Pats. I'll get it. Jesus, Kendrick Bourne. Oh my God. Very important to this offense. Demario Douglas had some really good games as a rookie last year and showed some promise. Tyquan Thornton had a couple of good games before he got hurt finally. He needs to be more consistent. There's some talent here. To me, this is all going to come down to the offensive line and the quarterback. For second managed games and the defense plays well, they're going to win some games they shouldn't win. Anyway. What do you got here, CA? Rest in peace, Michael Bean of The Call. Don't know who that is either. Who is that? We'll probably go a little long here, guys, because I've got more comments coming up. But that's been our norm. Once we get to football season, I can't go as long. I got to get out of here. Oh, The Call, the American rock band. Yeah. Wait, did he die a while ago? This is a different guy. This isn't the right guy, is it? This has got to be a different person. Or is it? Michael Ben with The Call. Is that right? Who we got here? Oh, that's who we're talking about. Back in 2010, no? Oh, I guess it's the anniversary was of his death here, right? This week, is that why we're bringing up CA? That's cool. Danby. Who are we talking about here? I'm not sure who we're talking about here. He threw me for a ringer here. Danny. I didn't check Facebook. I didn't check my. Danny's the guy that I worry about being on my personal page because I know he comments and I want Danny's comments in the show. Oh, he just let me see if I can share this. I'll try to do this. Joe LaRosa, if you're still with us, I'll try to do this before the show's over. Oh, we do have 11 comments over here.
Personal page because I know he comments and I
Hold
want.
on. Oh, see, now here's the thing. So I don't know if it's the person. Joe LaRussa's comments have come up here. Paul Spada's comments have come up here. Rick Sherlock, hopefully this thing is here. He's got a comment on my personal page about Alan Page. We'll see if that comes up. Scott used to play stickball in a Polaroid parking lot right down the street from my house in Cambridge, Massachusetts when I was growing up. You see that? And by the way, Willie Mays, one of the greatest stickball players of all time in New York City, he used to play with the kids all the time when the Giants were still in New York. Let you see if Scott, there it is. I see. You think tennis balls are try a wad from a shotgun? I would think I'm fast, and all of a sudden, wham! I would go down. That's the game we played. We did play a lot of fun games in Perth. I wasn't shooting a shotgun at my brother to try to hit the ball. I know you weren't shooting it, Kenny. By the way, those freaking tennis balls, the inside of those things you can throw that ball so hard and make it do so many things, and it did hurt when it hit you. Just saying. My brother had a really good arm too. That bastard. Me, I had to kind of. No, I threw the ball. I hurt my arm my last year of high school playing shortstop. And after that, I would have about one good pop in me a game. And then it wasn't very good. Rick was Alan Page in Practice on Your Brothers. That must have been fun. You guys probably had some rough and tumble practices there with Sherlock family. Carmen Castillo used to hit 524 with runners in scoring position. Oh, the good old days of hitting when it counts. Yeah, I don't even think do we even count the stat anymore? Well, that's an important number. And that's what I talk about with the game today, right? Situational baseball. I don't see it. I do no harm, meaning I won't lie. False pride months bring out the best in me. False pride months bring out the best in me. And that's fair. Listen, everybody is entitled to their opinion as long as they do no harm. People can think what they want. Again, how I decide to live my life, as long as I don't hurt anybody else, shouldn't matter. So I don't know. Again, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I will never say anything different. If I disagree with it, I'll tell you. And again, as long as you do no harm. If you're doing harm, and but again, and there's a lot of hate crime out there for a lot of people. So anyway, maybe Facebook has fixed this issue because all of the comments, or maybe it's Danny's issue for some reason. And what I got to look at, I guess, is whether Joe LaRussa, Paul Spada, Rick, I know Rick does, all follow TGI Sports Talk. Maybe that's why the comments come up. But I think Danny's following TGI. So I'm not really sure what the deal is. We'll figure it out, though. Stars for Keith if he says Boston again. Boston, Boston, Boston. Man, I got to tell you, 2004 was the most hurtful thing ever. Boy, those 4 days. And again, I do this a lot. I think there's I think it's 7 days in Boston. 7 days in. ESPN's got a great documentary about that series, and I feel like and maybe Scott knows it's 7 days in October or something, 5 days in October, something along those lines. It's a great retelling of that. It was a great series until Dave Roberts stole second base for Boston. Thanks. Thank you, Dan. Danny, by the way, I joke around, but the stars are always greatly appreciated. So thank you very much. Chris F. Grave has the best birthdays. Can't wait for his. That was a secret. We don't know when that is, do we? A young Bobby Bonilla played paddleball in his leisure time. What the hell is paddleball? It's probably a precursor to pickleball. If anybody knows what paddleball is, please speak up. Danny says, I think officiating is manipulating games with replay. It's taken out of the equation. I mostly accept Angel Hernandez, who's now finally done. And yes, back in the days, officiating could and did manipulate calls. I don't know. Again, there are isolated incidents where, where calls were made probably because of some kind of bias. You think the league has told officials? I got to be clear too, Danny, and I guess now I got to go a little longer than I thought. Make sure I get your answer. Do you really think the league has told officials in whatever sport to manipulate calls to make sure somebody else wins a game? A specific team wins a game? I don't believe that. I think maybe some rogue players like the NBA ref, his name is right on top of my head. Another great 30 for 30, by the way, about this guy. There's going to be isolated instances where rogue referees or umpires are doing things on purpose to manipulate games. I don't think like Don Denkinger, it's a great point to bring up, and I bring it up a lot in the 85 World Series. I don't think he manipulated that World Series. I think his actions may have caused some issues, and Jim Sundberg points out that call itself didn't cost them the game. It would have been, they would have still, his run would have been a tying run instead of the winning run, if I remember right. But again, I don't think Don Denkinger blows a call to try to keep the Royals in the game. Human error happens. And I know we have a disagreement about whether human error is acceptable on officials. I don't have a problem with that being part of the game. It's always been part of the game, and I've been okay with it. Problem is the replay has also changed the game. It was put in just for home runs. Now it's manipulated so that if a guy's foot slides off the bag for a millimeter of a second during a stolen base or such, the guy's out. Well, that's just ridiculous. You know? So again, I'm going to tell you, I will never believe leagues are manipulating umpires or referees to make calls to say, we want this team to win. I'm never going to believe it. If I'm ever convinced of that somehow, I will stop watching sports tomorrow. I don't watch wrestling. It's contrived. It's scripted. I don't watch it. And I just don't. I don't buy it. But again, you can enjoy it if you want. Not happy, but to be in the thick of things every year beats being many. Well, I don't disagree. And again, I'm not complaining about the fact that, and again, I guess with 27 world championships, you get a little, not that I've been alive for all of them. I'm not that old. I haven't even been alive for half of them. Storied franchise is not only a championship, but it's a history off the field as well. Agreed. But having 27 world championships doesn't hurt. And it does make me a little bit more spoiled, right? I'm the same way as a Patriot fan, by the way. I was spoiled for 20 years. Now, I have the 20 years before that where they stunk. 30 years before that where they stunk. For most of those years. They had a couple good years of Patriots I'm talking about now. So, listen, I'm hard on my teams, but I'm happy to be in contention. Don't get me wrong. It's not, as you say, it's funny, and Mark's not here to defend himself, but I always comment when he bashes your Dodgers. I stand up for your Dodgers, by the way. When he talks about no real World Series since 1988, when his team hasn't won anything since 1979 and rarely been in contention, where the Dodgers and the Yankees are in contention every year. So I love that. Even as a Patriot fan over those 20 years, listen, I knew someday we'd be like everybody else. I knew number 12 would move on and the coach would move on and we'd be like everybody else. And now we are. That's never going to happen again. We're going to compete for Super Bowls, but it may not be this year. It may not be for 5 years. And it may be once every 5 years, or it might be once every 10 years, like everybody else. So, if the Stankies don't win again, it would be the greatest thing to happen to baseball. Why? Here's the thing, and again, this is why the Yankees are so good for baseball. And so are the Dodgers. And so are the Red Sox. There are certain, I say this all the time, there are certain teams that are polarizing, and the games are better when those teams, the leagues are better when those teams are good. In baseball, it's the Yankees, it's the Dodgers, it's the Red Sox. Maybe we can probably find a couple others. In the NBA, it's the Celtics, it's the Knicks, it's the Lakers. College football's better, Kenny, to give you a little boost. College football's better when Notre Dame is good, and when Alabama's good, and when Texas is good. I was going to say when USC is good, but I don't want to take a start. Oh gosh. But again, that's good for baseball because the haters come out too when they're playing well. If the Yankees were finishing in a cellar for 20 years, then there wouldn't be as much interest in baseball. There just wouldn't. Maybe not for you, Kenny, or maybe for you. Michael Gott on one of my watched soccer podcasts. Keith here on YouTube with my team Leeds United. The stream had special guest Larry Nance from the Pelicabs, who's an investor into my team. Lovely man. Larry Nance, I believe we're talking about the NBA player Larry Nance. Or I think it can't be. That was, who's the other guy? I think it's Larry Nance. I think he played in the NBA. There was also, Larry Nance played with him. I remember him with the Suns. Good player, too. Interesting. 65 years old, nearly as old as I am. Or I'm sorry, I'm nearly as old as he is. That's good. That's kind of cool. To check that out. Send me that. And I think we're friends now. I'd like to check out some of the stuff you watch on YouTube, Michael. You could send me a link on my personal page and to the messenger. Chris, one of my favorite moments on this show was Kevin Mitchell jumping on the comments section. I'm going to dig up more baseball, guys. I think we're all hockeyed out. Kevin Mitchell did jump in one time. I had a great interview with Kevin Mitchell a couple of years ago. He was late because he just got off the golf course, and he did it while he was having his beers and whatnot. But we had a great conversation with Kevin Mitchell, talking about why he got traded out of New York. He never understood it. I mean, it's been pretty much assumed that the team got rid of him because they felt he was a bad influence. And Kevin claims it wasn't him that was a bad influence. It was other guys like Daryl and Doc and maybe even some other guys. And by the way, those guys have done a good job of straightening out their lives for sure. And Daryl especially. We hope Daryl's doing well. Obviously, he had a heart attack and seems to have recovered pretty well here. And it wasn't that long ago. We said it before. Jeter saved the Stankies' ass. And before you say bullshit, look up the difference in attendance beans after Jeter. Believe me, I would rather have seen Jeter in a Red Sox uniform. I'm sure you would. And by the way, the Yankees' attendance before Jeter, again, they weren't winning games, so that made a big difference. So I go back to the 70s without Jeter, and the attendance was just as good in the Jeter days. So Derek Jeter didn't necessarily, maybe on the road, Derek Jeter didn't affect home attendance all that much over the years. Let me just take a quick look. Now, I'm going to go. We're probably going to go to 11 o'clock now. I'm gonna prove you wrong, Kenny. Every time I do this, I end up proving myself wrong, by the way. Let's see what I can find. I want all of these. I want every year. There we go. This ought to give me a good thing right here. Here we go. All right. So, Jeter's rookie year, by the way. Let me look at Jeter's rookie year. 1995. He didn't really play. Let's say 96. 2,200, 2.2 million. 2.5, 2.9, 3.2, 3.0, 3.2, 3.4. They did push now. Again, this is a team that's now won a bunch of World Series. They get to 4 million 4 years in a row, 3.6, 3.5. Okay, so we averaged whatever, 3 million a year during his career, maybe 3 point whatever. And you are correct, by the way. So I'm wrong. And again, this wasn't just Jeter. They had a great team, don't forget. If Derek Jeter was on this team and they weren't winning a World Series, we wouldn't be drawing 4 million people a year. And again, here I am knocking Derek Jeter. Again, this wasn't just Derek Jeter. These teams where they drew 4 million, again, were loaded with great players and winning World Series year after year. But you're right, Kenny. I got to say I'm wrong. I'm called out again. It's usually Anthony that gets me on these. So every sport should do like the NFL, change the name of championship. Should do like the NFL, change the name of the championship. I'm kidding. Pats don't have the most NFL championships. I didn't say that. I don't think I said that. I said they had 6 Super Bowls. I didn't say championships. Obviously, championships were won long before the Super Bowl started. I didn't. Just to be clear, I didn't say that. I don't know if you're saying I did or didn't. The only thing I said about the Pats was they won 6 in 20 years. And the Packers obviously own the championship title. In fact, I don't know if the Patriots are even second, to be honest with you, Danny. Let's see. I don't want to list. Who has the most NFL championships? Packers. Most NFL titles with 13, 9 pre-Super Bowl. Yeah, I want to see everybody, though. I need something. History of NFL championships. I need numbers. I need, like, totals. Total NFL championships. I really don't think the Patriots are even second. Here we go. Packers 13, Bears 9, Giants 8. Giant fans, there you go. Take 2 of them away, we'd be tied with you, or we'd be ahead of you, but whatever. Chiefs 6, Patriots 6, Steelers 6, Cowboys 5, Colts 5, 49ers 5, Redskins 5, Raiders 4, Browns 4, Rams 4. There you go. Oh, sorry, we can keep going if you want. Eagles 4, Lions 4, Broncos 3. That's enough. So, yeah, and again, I did not mean to imply that the Patriots had won the most championships. I did not say that. They do have the most Super Bowls, and they did win 6 while the Yankees were winning 2 in the last 20 plus years. So every sport, no, I don't think anybody should change their championship, by the way. I think they're all fine. The Packers own it. Change the MLB from World Series? No. NHL from Stanley Cup? No. The NBA could change for sure. They don't really have a. I'm kidding. Actually, I'm kidding. Actually, so recognize the Packers. I am recognizing the Packers, and again, I did not mean to imply that. We got a lot more comments here. I thought we were almost done. A lot harder to win in baseball than football, just my opinion. It's a grind. It's 162 games. It's not, 4 months, 5 months. Well, it is. It's as long. We don't play daily. We don't play every day. Again, I guess it's debatable. I would agree, baseball was always my number one sport. Football has probably pulled into at least a tie. Pats will win again now with that dinosaur is gone. By the way, Bill with a 23, 24-year-old girlfriend, it's probably going to hurt him trying to get a job. And this girl, by the way, before you start thinking he's like out chasing young girls, I think young girls are out chasing old guys. This girl's ex, who said she's wise beyond her years, is 65 years old. Just so. Let's just keep things in perspective when we want to rip Bill. It's funny. I was on with Alan. Oh my God, Robert Butler the other night on SportsScope, and he talked about this. And he says the people he talked to give him a different answer depending on whether their wife's in the room or not. 7 guards in Ramondre. That's Apache. Well, we need some tackles. Center's okay. Davey Andrews is okay. Have a great week. See you later, buddy. Time to smoke them if you got them. You guys can read whatever you want into that. One more thing. You're like Columbo here, Kenny. You got to go during football, or is it that we are no longer important? I just got to get. I can go long. I just can't. I got to get out of here before 11 o'clock. I got to fly. You guys are always important to me. Danny says, Kenny, have a great Sunday. I'm waiting on Keith Engle to say Boston one more time. I just said it. Boston. Killing me, Danny Fuller. Chris F. Grade shared this link yesterday for me. Thanks to you, Chris. Danny, you did follow TGI Sports Talks page, right? I would think you would get the reminder from there as well in the morning. If not, I was actually going to send you an invite. Maybe I'll do that because I did see where I can now invite specific people to the show. So maybe I'll tag you when I do set up the show next time if I can, if it works correctly. Here's our dart news from CA. PDC World Cup next weekend. Both USA and Canada are seeds for the first time in quite a while. Good luck to the USA and to our neighbors in the north. Not near as bad. It's 2011. Not sure where's Alan's going there. No, not league. No, not league. The actual officiating, not the league. Okay. Well, again, individual guys, I think, are going to probably have scores to settle. I mean, Angel Hernandez is a perfect example. Nobody's that bad. Are they? What's that guy? Donahue, isn't it? The guy with the NBA official. Again, another great 30 for 30 by ESPN. Check it out. Kenny's still here. I do believe that calls are made to stop one team or another. Just look at again. They do miss calls. I mean, again, there wouldn't be replay if they didn't miss calls. And again, I don't know why we'd be watching the games if we thought they were fixed or scripted. Why would you watch the game? I don't. Oh, Larry Nance Jr. of the Pelicans. Oh, the Pelicans. I'm sorry. I did read that. That's my bad. Michael, you did write it that way, and I looked up Larry Nance's dad. His dad was a great player at Clemson, too. John DeLon, how are you? John, I didn't get a chance. I don't know if you're still here, but I hope you're doing well. I saw your comment on during the one-on-one show the other day about you being in the ER and everything, and I hope everything's going okay with you. We're going to be getting off the air here in a couple of 5 minutes, but I hope you're doing well. And I did mention it, but I don't know if you were still here Friday. So whatever's going on, certainly not looking to pride, but I hope you're doing okay. Vikings with the 1. Yeah, I didn't go all the way down to the 1s. Sorry. You do have an NFL championship, though. No, actually, you don't, do you? Now that I think about it, Vikings don't have an NFL championship. Unless we're counting the Chiefs' Super Bowl win against the Vikings as the Vikings having an NFL championship because we weren't officially merged yet. So, I mean, depending on how you look at it, I think they have 0. And I'm glad some of you guys are still here for this because you probably have seen this several times now. These guys comment, these bots. And again, this could be how certain, like Mac, I'm going to leave this up. You can barely see my head, but this is happening. It comes into my messages on my private messages on TGI Sports Talk. It's coming up in the comments now. If you ever see it, don't be worried. This is all bullshit. People who are trying to get you to click on a link. Because I've been threatened. My account's been being terminated now for about 5 months. So keep trying, whoever you are. I keep blocking you, but obviously you're better than I am, and you find ways to get your comments up. My Facebook page isn't going anywhere until Facebook itself. These are not Facebook people. They're people trying to get you to click on a link. I'm certain it's possible that Northeast Streaming Sports ended up losing their Facebook page because of something like this. Somebody said you were going to lose if you didn't do this. You clicked on the link, and then your page disappeared. So, VJ, and tomorrow will be or later on today, will probably be more comments on here. Feel free to keep sending me these messages, and I will feel free to keep ignoring them. You people are scumbags, by the way. Just messing with people for no reason. Go find a freaking job. Get out of your mom's basement. I hope you're still watching, VJ, and your friends. And it's all botted probably anyway. So whoever it is that's sending your bots my way, I hope you're enjoying it because I'm never going to click on your link. You can keep wasting your time. You can, and maybe there's no time to waste once you set this up. It's all automated probably. There's probably nobody ever going to hear these words. But if you do hear them, get out of your mom's basement. Go get a real job and a life and stop messing with people for no reason. Dumbasses. Kenny, I thought you left. Welcome back. NFL should change their championship name. Super Bowl is now who has the best smoke. They should change. They should name the. I thought they did. Or somebody did. Was it the NBA conference champions? They changed to the Bird and Magic. Maybe. Ken Gifford, facts on the dinosaur. He was fired before 12 and fired after 12. Most overrated dinosaur. LOL. Keith can't let Keith off. He was fired before 12. Oh, before 12 and fired after 12. I get it now. All right. Well, whatever. So Tom Brady himself said there was, and by the way, you can say Tom Brady is totally responsible for all those Super Bowls if you like. It's not true, because they had to have great defenses, which Bill Belichick was a big part of building. Belichick and his staff also made Tom Brady who Tom Brady is today. Tom Brady had a lot to do with that as well. But coaching and opportunity were given to him by the coaching staff. Just might want to point that out. He could have been playing somewhere else. Yeah, like 0. Perhaps I should wait for a new MLB franchise before picking my team. Hopefully there won't be any. You've been here the whole show. That's fine. Nobody has to participate. I don't want them just to participate for the sake of participating. I know you're a big college football fan, and we don't get into a lot of college football on this show until the season's underway. But I'm glad you're feeling much better. But you're still really tired and fairly miserable. Well, the miserable part's not new, is it, Jeff? I'm just kidding you. Nobody's more miserable when they don't feel good than me, believe me. I had 2 oral surgeries starting in April 27th. Just now, the last 3 days, my mouth feels like it's getting back to normal. And I've been a baby for forever. You go boom. I love it. We hate dumbasses. I do hate dumbasses. I really do. Danny lacks game and pushing your buttons. Where's Carlos? I know is probably mad at me. I don't know. But where'd Waldo go? He's a busy guy. Billy could push my buttons in here early. I like getting my buttons pushed, by the way. You couldn't push my buttons if I didn't allow it, and it's part of the fun. And Danny and I have a lot of fun going back and forth. Maybe Danny doesn't, I do. Bet the Browns regret firing the dinosaur. Yeah, I don't disagree, by the way. That's why there are no trophies in the Vikings building. You guys are getting rough. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. It's been an awesome 7 hours again today. I love spending time with you guys. I love these Sunday mornings. I hope you guys have a great day. Drew, Rick, Danny, Chris, Kenny, Anthony, Michael, Joe. I know I'm forgetting people, and I apologize. Welcome to the show. You're always welcome to the show. Love your comments. This show is for you guys on Sundays, and I have a blast. Danny, thank you so much. You have a great day out there. You still got your whole day ahead of you. My day's half over. Have a great Sunday, guys. We will see you. We'll see you Wednesday night. We're going to continue the college football huddle for a bit. John DeLong. There goes my music. What was I saying? We'll continue the college football huddle for a bit, but we'll be back Friday morning with Dennis Rasmussen with one-on-one with Keith Engle, former Yankees, Reds, and Padre pitcher, maybe a few other teams there. We'll talk to him about his experiences in the game today, and certainly the rest of the shows will be here next week as well. Have a great Sunday, guys. Bye-bye.